ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jimmy Corso, and tonight we're going to talk about something special, Woodstock. To talk about it, let me introduce you all our guests tonight. First one, Clarice. Then Roman. Sophie, the beautiful Sophie, and to finish, our amazing guy, Martin Mott. So Woodstock, a music festival, lasted 4 days in mid-August in 1969. This festival was promoted and created by Michel Lang, a young EP who had already done over music festival. What had made so popular Woodstock? It's because a lot of artists came to this festival, and because the result was above the expectation. It means that there were more than 1,000 people, and that's why it's amazing. But tonight we are going to focus about the music, and to do this I would like to talk about the day one, and it will be Sophie.
Okay, so 50,000 people arrived at Woodstock 2 days before the beginning of the festival. So 1 million persons were expected to arrive then, and this is why the Woodstock's managers had no choice but to make the festival free. So Woodstock caused the most important traffic jam that ever occurred in the USA. Hundreds of miles of road were concerned. So this is why artists and managers used helicopters to move, because otherwise they were stuck in the traffic jam. So on Friday, the band Sweetwater were expected to start the festival, but as they were stuck in the traffic jam because they were still on the road, Richie Havens was asked to open the festival. As other artists were also stuck in the traffic, or in their hotel room, an Indian religious leader named Swami Satchidananda delivered a pacifist speech, and another young artist who was not programmed that day, was called Country Joe McDonald, was asked to play, and he became one of the anti-Vietnam War leader ensemble because of this song, I Feel Like I'm Fixing to Die Rag.
That was really interesting, Sophie, but what was for you the best artist of day one of Woodstock?
So I think the best artist for me was Joan Baez, because she arrived in the same helicopter that Janis Joplin and was the last performer of the day. She got on stage at 1 a.m. and I remember that it was drizzling that day, and after her performance it was completely raining. And I enjoy this moment because I think it was the best way to end that crazy and electric day with calm. I admire because she was one of the rare women to participate to this festival, and because she was politically committed. She was an opponent to the Vietnam War and a good friend of Bob Dylan, and I remember that during her performance she sang Joe Hill in tribute to her husband, David Harris, who had been in jail for 2.5 weeks because he refused to go to war while he was a draftman. And so at the same time that the Woodstock Festival happened, his husband went on a hunger strike with 40 other federal prisoners, and none of them were draft people. And I think it was a really touchy moment when she sang to her husband.
And you, Martin? Maybe an artist that you enjoyed a lot?
Oh yes, thank you Thibaut for your question. Personally, my favorite artist was Richie Havens, because he was not to be the first artist performing at Woodstock, but in the end he made the opening of the festival because of the traffic jams that prevented the other groups to come on stage. So it was the first show and it was really impressive. He made a 3-hour show mixing folk, soul and rhythm and blues. And at the end of his concert he even made several recalls because the other bands were not arrived yet. His most famous song was Freedom. He improvised a song on a gospel tune, and it became his most famous song, and it became a symbol for peace and for the this song represented the counterculture that was very important at the time, and he had a very recognizable voice that was very striking and that was impressive. So for this, I think that Richie Havens is my favorite artist.
Thank you really much, Martin. Okay, now we're going to talk about some facts about Woodstock. Did you know that at the end of day one, the barriers, the gates of the festival collapsed? So the organizers of the festival decided to make Woodstock free. But it was a threat for this festival to be suitable and profitable. But fortunately, Warner bought all the rights about videos and music of the festival, and the festival became profitable. Now, get back to the music, and I think that Caris is going to introduce day 2.
So it is the 16th of August 1969, and everyone is waking up still drunk or high from the day before, and both feet in the mud because it has rained all night long. There are many hippies in the tents emerging from the bad trip, but the festival is still going on in a peace and love atmosphere. And as thousands of hippies continue to arrive at the festival, the organizers are really worried because there is now a lack of food, and they are afraid that the people will become violent for that reason. So, as music is always the solution for them, they decided to change the program, and the first group started at midday instead of 5 p.m. It was a really rich day, musically speaking, on that Saturday. There was The Kill, Santana, Janis Joplin, Sly and the Family Stone, Creedence Clearwater Revival, and finally The Who. They all performed at Woodstock on that Saturday.
Oh, and you forgot Country Joe McDonald, and I think it was one of the best artists because he had already performed on Friday because of the traffic jam, but he sang again on Saturday, and his song is a beautiful song. I feel like I'm fixing to die rag, and once again this was really the main feeling at the time in the United States among young men. And what is quite funny about this musician and about the song, I feel like I'm fixing to die rag, is that first it had been refused by his record company, and it was only in 1968 that they accepted to put this song in his album. So as the song is also called The Fish Shear, because during festivals Joe and his band were used to perform a call and response with the audience, and they were spelling the word fish, and then Joe would say what that spell, and so that was a fish cheer. But during the Woodstock festival, it evolved into the fuck cheer, and Joe spelled fuck instead of fish, and it was to protest against the Vietnam War and so the US government, and it followed him all his life.
And just after that, Santana was the second group to perform on that day. So Santana is an American Latin rock band, and it was formed in 1966 by a Mexican-American guitarist named Carlos Santana. So there is a little story about this group because they were not supposed to perform at Woodstock Festival. But ahead of Woodstock, Bill Graham was asked to help with logistics and planning at the festival, but he agreed only at the condition that a new band he was championing, named Santana, which was unknown at that time, was added to the bill. So Santana was announced as one of the performers at the festival, and they performed Soul Sacrifice, which provided a contrast to the other acts on the bill. And this exposure helped propel their first album, also named Santana, into a hit. The band has earned many awards since the Woodstock Festival, and this first album, Santana, was sold more than 19 million records worldwide, making them one of the world's best-selling groups of all time.
I knew that you enjoyed Santana. And Roman, tell me more about Janis Joplin.
Yes, Janis Joplin, it was a huge moment in Woodstock. Let me tell you about the history of this artist. She was born in Texas in 1943, and she left her family at 17 for the music. She created her first group called Waller Creek Boy in 1962, but her career started really in 1967 with her new group Big Brother and the Holding Company. With this group, she participated to Monterey International Pop Festival, which was a huge success for the group and her. And then in 1969, of course, they participated to Woodstock, and that was also a great moment in the history of the music. She was really into drugs, and her nickname, by the way, was Pearl because of her fourth album in 1969. Sorry. Unfortunately, Janis Joplin died 1 year after the Woodstock Festival because of an overdose. She died at 27, and she is part of the 27 Club. You know, the club that where all the famous artists died at 27, the Mythic Club. So even if her career only lasts 3 years, she still is considered as a huge artist.
Thank you so much, Roman. And there is one artist, one group I would like to focus on to finish day 2 of Woodstock. Sophie, just tell us about the Who, yeah, please.
Yeah, I remember this group very well because they sang My Generation, and it really struck an emotive chord among the audience. But actually it was on Sunday because it was 5 a.m. and as the show was running late, it was 5 a.m. during their performance. And what I remember, it was the moment where a hippie leader just interrupted the show because he wanted to protest against the arrest of John Sinclair. And so Townshend didn't appreciate it at all, and I remember he kicked him off the stage, and I think he says something like "fuck off my fucking stage," and so it was really impressive.
Oh man, impressive.
I think this is a pile of shit while John Sinclair rots in prison.
I can dig it. It's alright to leave the boy with Uncle Ernie. Do you think it's alright? He's had a few too many tonight. Do you think it's alright? I think it's alright.
What a day it was! Incredible performances. But I'm sure you want to know other facts about Woodstock. Unfortunately, 3 people died during the festival. The first one because of an overdose, the other one because of tractor accident, and the last one, he just fell down. But we like optimism, and 2 babies born during the festival, and they were called Bob and Dylan. But once more we got to get back to music, and we are going to talk about the day 3, which was a bit awkward. Martin?
The Sunday started very badly because of storm with winds which reached about 55 miles per hour. So it was a huge storm, and the musicians couldn't play because of the rain and because of the winds. So there was a small break during the morning on the Sunday. But afterwards, the musicians could play, and the festival could start again.
I would like to talk for day 3 an artist in particular. It is Joe Cocker, because my father loves Joe Cocker. This guy did an amazing performance. He began the day 3. This guy is an Englishman. He wasn't known at all, and he's in this group also. But he made a recovery of a famous single of the Beatles, and his performance was just incredible. And after Woodstock, he became really famous. And every time he went on stage, the crowd was claiming, "Please do this song again." So it was really one of the biggest moments of Woodstock, the performance of Joe Cocker. And Clarisse, I know that you're a huge fan of 10 Years After.
Yeah, you're right. I'm a huge fan of 10 Years After. So they are an English blues rock band, and their music style is made of blues rock and hard rock. So I love this mix. There are 4 members: Chick Churchill, Rick Lee, Marcus Boffanti, and Colin Hodkinson. So they formed the band in the 1960s and became very popular thanks to the Woodstock Festival. They were the 3rd group to perform that day on the 17th of August, so at Woodstock, and they performed "I'm Going Home," which became one of their most famous songs since the Woodstock Festival. Between 1968 and 1973, 10 Years After scored 8 top 40 albums in the UK album chart, and so their discography is very, very rich and very important, with more than 20 albums since the creation of the band.
Also not forget the famous bands Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young. At the beginning, this group was formed in 1968 with only David Crosby, Stephen Stills and Graham Nash. But 1 year later, Neil Young joined the group, and so they performed at Woodstock on the Sunday. So their musical style is quite folk rock. But what is funny is that during Woodstock, it was only the 2nd time they played together in front of people, because Neil Young he had just joined the group, and at the time Stephen Stills said, and I quote, "We are scared shitless." So it was pretty funny, and when Neil Young joined the group in the middle of the acoustic set, the atmosphere was very impressive, and every people remember this famous show for the fact that the 4 musicians were in the same on the same stage, and it remained as one of the best show of Woodstock.
Thank you very much, Martin. Okay, we have introduced you a lot of artists who performed and did amazing performances, but we have to talk about those who didn't come, and there was famous person who didn't, such as Bob Dylan, the group The Doors, and because they thought that Woodstock wasn't big enough for them, and but after that they regretted a lot. And there is also the group Led Zeppelin who didn't come, but the last day wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. And there is a world famous musician and guitarist who came, and it's obviously Jimi Hendrix. And I would like Roman to tell us a lot about his performance and the last day of Woodstock.
Yes, thank you, Thibaut. As you said, the 4th day was not planned in the program of the festival, but the climatic conditions were so terrible, as Martin said, that Jimi Hendrix was delayed with the 2 others group, such as Shanana, and so they played Monday morning. For Jimi Hendrix particularly, among the 500,000 participants to the festival, only 25,000 were still there to hear Hendrix's concert. Just to remind the history of Jimi Hendrix, he's, as you said, one of the most famous guitarists and songwriters in the world, and his career seems like the career of Janis Joplin. He created his group Jimi Hendrix Experience in 1966. Even if he started to play the guitar at 15, and he died at 70. So his career only lasted 4 years. The Woodstock Festival, he made a cover of Star Spangled Banner, which is the anthem of the USA. And this song will go down in the history because it became the sound of Vietnam War, and because Jimi Hendrix reproduced the sound of bombs collapsing on the floor, only with his guitar. And moreover, during his concert, he played with his guitar on the neck. So he was playing like that. And
oh man!
Yeah, he couldn't see his guitar, and it was a huge performance.
Amazing.
Yes, it was really a huge moment in the festival. And Jimi Hendrix, just like Janis Joplin, is part of the 2027 club because he also died because of an overdose.
Okay, thank you everyone for your testimonies. But fortunately, the TV show is over. But we would like to say Woodstock was an amazing event, one of the most famous in a worldwide scale, and with amazing artists. And it was a symbol for the fight against the war in Vietnam, peace and love, and the hippie movement. In 2 years, we will celebrate the 50th anniversary of Woodstock. And thank you, Robin Morandi, for watching our video.